Attention listeners, AfterSight's annual hike is coming up on July 27th.
It was a really good experience for me.
Visit aftersight.org/hike and become an audio trekker today.
That hike today gave me so much courage.
Hey, you're listening to Blindsight. Let's go. Mental health isn't something to take lightly. It's time to fight. It's time to thrive. Let's do this.
Hi, and welcome to Blindsight. I'm your host, Bill Lundgren, and I'm delighted to be here as always with you and have you listen in. And today we're going to be talking about an especially important topic for those who served in the military or are serving in the military now. That is the VA services. And we're happy to have the visual treatment coordinator with us. I blew that title.
That's okay.
Heather Solberg. But before we get into the program, I want to let people know of a couple things. Number one, there is a hike at the end of July, July 27th, I believe, this Saturday. And it will be from 8 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. And it's a blindness hike in the Boulder area. It's the fourth one we've done, and it's really, really very enjoyable. And what you need to do is to go to aftersight.org and sign up. Let us know that you're coming. And this year, we're going to have a competition between the different podcasts for who's going to turn out the most people to support them. So, of course, I want everybody to sign up for the Blindsight group. And I will be there with my dog and looking forward to a hike. So that's one thing that's coming up. If any of you have any feedback you want to give us about this show or any suggestion, there are two ways to reach us. One is a feedback line at aftersight.org, which is 720-712-8856, or to email at feedback.aftersight.org. So anyway, so much for the preliminary. Now I'd like to introduce Heather Solberg, who's going from the VA. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Bill.
My pleasure. Can you tell us a little bit about how you ended up at the VA?
Yes, I'll try to be short and sweet. But in my past life, I was actually a social worker and was doing foster care, got burned out. And so I decided, when you get burned out, where do you go? Back to school. And
Right.
So I went back to school to get my master's. Just so happened they put me at a low vision program at the VA there in Kansas City, Missouri. And I loved the teaching part of it more than the social work part of it. So I went back and got my master's in blind rehabilitation, vision rehab therapy, and did an internship here for the state, Voc Rehab. And then I got a job there for a few years. And then the VA started their rollout of continuum of care. And I applied, and here I am 17 years later. So,
wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So what are your responsibilities in the program?
So just to give you a little background about what program is here in Denver, we actually
Right.
have a full advanced low vision program called Visor, we love our acronyms, right? So VISER stands for Visual Impairment Services Outpatient Rehabilitation.
And
And
people who are listening in will have to take a final exam.
exactly.
And that'll be
Exactly. It won't be the last acronym I throw out there. So, Bill, I expect you to take an exam afterwards, right?
right.
And so when I first started, that program has two VIST coordinators and that's what I do right now. That's case managers for veterans who have vision loss. And then they also have a full training program. So I started out 17 years ago as the vision rehab therapist. So I was teaching activities of daily living, Braille, communications, helping out with assistive technology a little bit, everything. And then 2 years ago, I took the case management job. So that's what I do now as a VIST coordinator.
Now, is this kind of program in all VA hospitals around the country, or just a few, or what's it look like right now? Are they working on increasing the numbers?
Yeah, so the programs are all over the country.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Programs look a little different depending on the area you're in. Every area, VISN has VIST coordinators, so case managers. Some of them have smaller program, as I described as VISER. So some of them maybe don't have all of the therapies, but they do have some of the therapies there. There's blind rehab centers. So the blind rehab centers are inpatient programs that the veteran can travel to, and those are all over the country. And so VIST coordinators are responsible for just sending the veteran to the most appropriate program.
Wow, that's much more broader than many people would realize. Well, I think there's a lot of myths about VA benefits, getting into the VA. And I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about how someone who isn't already registered, maybe someone who is registered, but doesn't know how to access this particular program, what do they have to do?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I get that a lot, actually. So if a veteran is not enrolled at the VA yet, they either want to go into the VA and go to the business office and get enrolled in person, or they can go online and fill out a Easy 210, and that's a form that they can fill out online and then register through the web. It's I tell veterans that it's much easier to go in person so that you can just get everything done at once and make sure that you have all the forms filled out and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first step. And then after that, they actually will be assigned to a primary care physician within the VA. So that means just their PAC team, their team of physicians, nurses, pharmacy, social work, all that kind of stuff. And then we're a specialty program, so the veteran themselves can call us, or anybody can put a consult in for us. So a lot of times I'll get cold calls from veterans who hear about our program, but they're not registered in the VA. So I walk them through those steps and try to get them in the VA as fast as possible, and then follow them and make sure they're, hooked up with us after they get into the VA.
Now, the services that you provide are for just for the veteran rather than for family members. Or am I wrong?
So we do only provide the blind rehab, training and devices for the veteran, but we also provide family services in the fact of adjustment to vision loss.
So you're working with the family in terms
Yep.
of working with the vet who is getting trained in the program.
Exactly. Yeah, and
That's a good idea. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we like to do family training as much as possible, as much as the, family or support or caregiver or whoever is in the veteran's life. It's not necessarily family sometimes.
Right.
Not blood family, I should say.
Yeah.
And so, we like to provide that family support and family training. And that could look like maybe bringing the family member or caregiver in and showing them under filter, like blindfold or whatever, to like what the veteran is seeing or not seeing, and how they can interact with the veteran. Also telling them some strategies on what to do at the home. So maybe a spouse is moving furniture around, or not putting things back in the same place.
Right.
So we just give them little pointers like that. And so we provide a lot of support to the family and to the caregivers. We just don't give them devices.
And I'm assuming you also kind of teach the family not to be the caretaker or the codependent and do everything
Mm-hmm.
for the trainee. I'll call them a trainee,
Mm-hmm.
to let them do it, let them learn how to do it, rather than what a lot of families do is do it for them.
Absolutely. Yes. That's our number one priority, is to help the veteran become as independent as possible, and also help the caregiver understand what that looks like and what that can mean. I know the Visor program is really good about, they have a 5-day program that they bring veterans in all week. And
Oh, really?
and they have their caregiver or spouse or whoever's with them come into the program and come into all of the different sessions and see what the veteran's learning. And then by the end of the week, we work with them on, how can they be of assistance, but also how can they let the veteran be independent in the home. So it's a great balance.
That is a wonderful idea, and not all programs outside do that. And I think that personally, I think that can be the family can get in the way of everything that the trainers are trying to do without realizing it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an adjustment process for the whole family or for the whole unit, whoever's interacting with the veteran. So we like to address those as well.
Well, now, if someone's in the rural areas of the country where there isn't a nearby VA hospital, is there some option that's available? You mentioned residential. Is that really the prime option for someone who's located quite some distance away from a facility?
That would be ideal, I think, right? So we could send them. The nearest one to our facility is in Tucson, Arizona. And so we definitely try to send as many veterans as we can there, just to get a full program. Also coming up I mentioned the 5-day Hoptel. They call it hospital hotel put together, is Hoptel. And so they would come up for 5 days to the Visor program, which is another option if they're having problems getting to and from the clinic. But we also provide a lot of telehealth. And so we try to do a lot of telehealth for people that are in rural areas. And so that has been very helpful.
Sure.
And we've been able to outreach to a lot more veterans that way. It's, we were doing it before COVID, but it really ramped up during COVID times. So it's been nice to have that support in telework.
Absolutely. Now, of course, part of the program had to be dealing with technology, and I guess to offer telehealth, you're going to have them work on technology so they can even tune into you.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And we have a certified assistive technology therapist on the team on Visor. And so she's really good about being able to step in if we say, hey, this veteran, has the equipment. Can you help get them online or see if they are able to get online? That's also where we recruit family members. Sometimes family members or somebody coming into the home can help, get the veteran on to telehealth if needed.
If they have a 12-year-old child, the child probably already knows how to do it.
You laugh, but I have actually had a lot of grandkids do it or kids, their younger kids do it for them. Yeah, so they're like, well, my grandkid will be out of school at 3. Can you see me then? And he can get me online. So, but
There you go.
we have a lot of veterans that are really good at technology and really happy to be able to learn how to do the VA has a special, they call it VA Video Connect. So it's a private site so that it's not as so that we can follow HIPAA guidelines and things like that. So
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Mhm.
yeah, but it's good, and a lot of veterans are open to trying it. So it's really fun and sometimes I'll just walk them through it. So
Mhm. Wow, that's quite a comprehensive program.
mhm.
Now, are there who are you serving currently in your program? I mean, what age limit? What kinds of visual difficulties are they having?
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
some people think, visual services are just for those who have a injury due to combat or something like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, no, we serve any veteran. So the criteria really is you are eligible for VA services is number one, right? And
Right.
then
Hmm.
you have a diagnosis of a visual impairment. So as long
Now,
as
who
you have a
gives that?
diagnosis,
Who gives
um,
that?
well, like ophthalmology, any eye doctor. If you have
Hmm.
something on record that says that you have an eye diagnosis, then you're eligible for our program.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
so we're seeing veterans who maybe are in the first stages of vision loss, maybe just diagnosed with macular degeneration, and all the way to veterans who have both eyes enucleated and don't have any vision at all. So we see the spectrum all through
Hmm.
all through which is amazing because we can offer different programs, and I think we're really good at specializing what everybody's different needs are. So it's not a cookie cutter, you have to follow this process. We look at each individual veteran and make sure that they're getting whatever services they need, which
Right.
might just be like a one visit with our low vision optometrist versus another visit with the whole team. And I don't think I
Mm.
mentioned who all is on the team. I apologize for that.
Sure.
So we have a low vision optometrist, Dr. Kessler, and then we have our low vision therapist, who is Alyssa, our assistive technology therapist, who her name is Emily. And then we're still trying to fill our positions for orientation mobility and for vision rehab therapy. But we are covering for that. So a lot of us are doing different skill areas. So it's working out well. And then we have our supervisor, Lori. So Lori Hallman, she's the supervisor over the visual impairment program. And then 2 VIST coordinators. So 2 case managers. So that's
So,
our program.
for your particular program,
Mhm.
how many people would you be serving?
So for the VIST program right now, I should have pulled up an exact number, but it is around 735 veterans total.
What?
Yeah,
That's a lot of people to serve.
it is, but they don't all need services at once, I guess. So that's who we're case managing.
Yeah.
So on our total for us two VIS coordinators, and then I'm not sure about how many are actually going through the Visor program right now, training program. But our services are available throughout the lifetime of the veteran. So it's
Oh, really?
it's a continuum. The VIST coordinator, the case manager, is actually responsible for reaching out to the veteran once a year if they haven't heard from them, to just make sure they're doing okay. It's called an annual review. And so we
Right.
reach out to the veteran, make sure everything's going okay. Are your devices working well? Do you have a new condition that might be something that you need to file a claim for benefits, things like that. We check in with them and make sure they're doing okay.
Now, one of the things I have to make clear to everyone, and I think you are in agreement with this, just because someone has blindness doesn't mean they have mental health issues.
Absolutely.
But when they do, and you guys are becoming aware of it, what happens then?
So if a veteran is having mental health issues, then we would work with the mental health department that is here at the VA. We have a very close relationship with them. We reach out to them on a regular basis if we have a veteran that needs some assistance. We can also put in a consult to the mental health team to reach out to the veteran.
Okay.
Yeah. The VA also has a suicide prevention team. And so if we'll do a screen for the veteran. And if the veteran screens positive for suicidal thoughts or ideations, then we would send them straight to that team. They're available 24/7. And
I see. So
that's a great program to be able to tap into.
Sure.
And we do. So we also we still talk to the veterans about adjustment to blindness, which is
Yes.
a different kind of issue. That people have who have vision loss, and so the adjustment to blindness is something that we can help them with along the way. Sometimes it's helping just to go through the training. Sometimes that's helping with adjustment. But as VIS coordinators, we actually have an adjustment group that we do. We just started it. It's really exciting. We just finished our first group. We're doing 8 weeks of adjustment to vision loss, and it's once a week. And it's like we have 4 or 5 veterans that we invite to come to the group for all 8 weeks. And we just have we follow a curriculum. And the curriculum I follow is the Self-Esteem and Adjusting with Blindness. It's a book by Dean and Naomi Tuttle. And so kind of loosely follow along with that and follow a curriculum for that. So we do also work with the veterans on adjustment to vision loss. But if there's any other mental health needs, then we would send them on to the specialist. That's a little out of my scope of practice.
Right.
So, yeah.
But basically, we're talking about grief and loss.
Because
exactly. I think,
yep.
And some people get confused. Is this a mental health issue? Well, sort of. And in terms of of this program, I look at adjustment, as you say, adjustment disorder is in the diagnostic and statistical manual, and basically it's grief and loss. And one of the difficulty when we talk about the males particularly, the idea of grief and loss and admitting is pretty difficult.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, and then you put on top of that, being a veteran is a
Yes.
different group, because they are, they were taught so much when they were in the military. I've heard many veterans say this, I was taught to do it this way, and now
Right.
they have to learn how to do it a different way. And just moving towards that, I think driving, grieving that independence in not
Right.
being able to do some of those things they were able to do before.
Mhm.
So that's a process, but you're right. It's the grieving process, basically. And that's part of it that we talk about in our group. And independence, loss of independence, but also, what does independence look for you? What does it look
Right.
like to you? Everybody's different. Society taught us when we were kids, this is what independence looks like, and nothing else is independent, but
Right.
that's just not true, right? So independent could look like you getting a ride on Accessoride, which is, our transportation here in Denver.
Right.
Or it could look like going to the store with your wife and maybe you pushing the cart and her being in front.
Right.
That's
And being
independence
with
for
her. Yeah.
everyone has a different, needs to look at it as, I have a different way of looking at independence, not what society tells me. So that's part of the book that we talk about.
Hello, everybody. Jonathan Price here. I'm the podcast producer at AfterSight. I want to thank you so much for listening to Blindsight. And we are in part 1 of our interview with Heather Solberg. And if you are listening to this on July 5th, I hope you guys had a fantastic 4th of July. Thank you to all of our servicemen and women who fight to make sure that we have the right to our speech, to our freedoms, to our liberty, to our way of life. So I want to thank all of you out there. And I want to bring your attention to the hike July 27th, just happening in a few weeks. So make sure that you are there. Go register at aftersight.org/hike. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us at feedback@aftersight.org or give us a phone call, 720-712-8856. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic week. Enjoy your friends and your family, and we'll talk to you next time.